Happy Pi Day. Newsletter time. Hunger shame. On appetite, art, and uncertainty, specifically the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It'll all come together. I was an anorexic girl trying to grow. In an Ozempic world, now I'm a poetic woman watching life blow. By in my cigarette curls, there are some things I know. When it comes to feeling too much, yet never enough, rushing to catch up, but the fastest way to real is slow. Oh yeah, I remember you, said the poet stooped on the flower bed edge between laughs and blunt paths. You were hungry. Shame seized my throat. He wasn't talking about literal hunger, though that shame would have chokehold me in some own tormenting way. Maybe it's choke-held. He was talking about a hunger of deeper pangs, deeper shames, that apparently he observed at the first open mic I ever attended in June 2024 at the Bowery Poetry Club in the East Village. Trying not to overthink my outfit or my existence, I arrived early. I had taken the subway there, which was still thrilling for me at the time, not because I was new to NYC public transit, but because I was new again. That's different. Renewed. June 2024. 2 months and 1 week after a life-threatening hospitalization, well, 2 technically, that led me to an encounter with an angel of death, an emergency surgery, and a tube out of my booty cheek draining my body's own poison from my right ovary. Yup, that happens. I called the body juice bag my butt plug. My mom helped me clean it twice daily for 16 days, per doctor's orders. It took another 2 weeks for my body to get to the point where taking the subway was but a small miracle rather than an unfathomable feat. I got some cute pics. Yes, 2 months, 1 week after my confrontation with mortality, and 1 month, 1 week after falling into the most potent, almost love I've ever experienced to this day. And 1 week after that, almost love abruptly ended with no closure. I guess you can call that open-ended. I was left hungry. Physically hungry, sure. The hospitalization and recovery rendered me 10 pounds lighter, and I still hadn't healed my relationship with food enough not to be secretly delighted by this fact. At this point in my anorexia, the only way I knew how to permit myself to eat substantially, read sufficiently, was to be underweight. And also, spiritually hungry, the real hunger. The angel of death, no lie, showed me in a life-saving hallucination that for me, the opposite of life wasn't my heart to stop beating, but my voice to stop speaking. How? And for a girl bursting at the seams to be a woman who was bursting at other seams, I was sobered by this destined reckoning of expression. But at the time, I was still more afraid of taking up too much space than of wasting away. Cute pics. That first open mic marked a shift in that fear. Since then, I resolved to bet on my appetite. I've been sharing my art more and more, from packed living rooms to sold-out theaters, I can't believe I'm saying that, to steamy dance floor saunas, to wild jungle festivals, and I acknowledge how much this feeds my soul. But a couple of weeks ago, I started to feel that familiar feeling again. Let me zoom out briefly and explain what my dear friend Becca G calls the pin drop phenomenon, which is a hype girl way of explaining the silence in a room after I share a piece. Now, as someone who is full sending her full true soul, for me, this silence can feel a little eerie. My brain, which is yet to feel fully safe taking up space, immediately interprets the silence as, wow, E, you just made a room of people sit and watch you build your own plank and jump off it spectacularly. You will be blessed to have friends after this embarrassment. However, I've done this enough times now to know that people are simply in the pause between listening and processing, and it does not mean I did something bad. Often, it means the opposite. This is a deep rewiring that I work on mostly alone. I must have faith in the cosmic symbiosis that I eat, capital E, on an artistic and spiritual level to live, and I live to feed, capital F, others. Like in this Monday, like on this most recent Monday, gotta emphasize that it was fresh. When my friend asked me to share a small piece at a small living room jam, I realized it was the year anniversary of a very special poem to me called The Metaphor. So I decided to honor it. Now, this piece is one of my more cuckoo banana poems. Like, it's actually maybe my most cuckoo banana poem. But it means a lot to me. It is a historical time capsule of the moment I was at in my life when I wrote it last March, 2025, reintroducing meat into my diet, devouring expression on the level of what feels good to say, beyond what makes sense to read, owning my deep devotion in the ways of love, and declaring my willingness to want to be alive, embodied, myself. Overall, my sheer delight at the time that I, a hungry girl self-relegated to cerebral entanglement of science and poetry and more, was capable of something so straightforward as carnal desire. Anywho, this Monday after sharing the metaphor, the pin dropped, and yet I didn't feel nourished. I felt shame, hunger shame. Where did this come from? Answering this question is not about my lack of memory, but rather my abundance of it. I remember too much. 10 years old, wrapping my stomach in saran wrap and doing Pilates to get rid of my gut. My guts. Respecting that has always been an issue. This 15 years old, sneaking out of study hall, because I'd already completed all my homework anyways, to run 3 miles before running another 2 hours during track practice that afternoon. 20 years old, a slice of my own gluten-free, dairy-free birthday cake leading to uncontrollable sobs. 23 years old, driving myself to the hospital in Brooklyn for some sort of help calming down my nervous system. 28 years old, day 2 at treatment with heating packs on my stomach all day from eating more than I have ever allowed myself, unable to digest the incredible regret of each calorie that masked the deeper indigestion caused when one deprives themselves of their own life force. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm simply stating facts. More plainly, I didn't eat food because I was afraid of eating too much and looking like a pig. These days, I'm okay with eating food, but now, as I acknowledge creating and sharing my art feeds my soul, I am afraid of eating too much. Am I taking up too much space? Do I look crazy? Are the words I'm saying coherent to anyone besides myself? Am I cringe city and no one is telling me? And it's fucking confusing, which is why I'm craving holy honesty. Let me explain with physics. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that it is impossible to simultaneously know the exact position, x. I have a diagram right here. The exact position, x, and momentum, p, of a quantum particle with absolute precision. The position, where are you, is obvious. So let's zoom in on the momentum part. Actually, let's just talk. This triangle means delta, which in this case, in this equation, means uncertainty. So it's like the spread. So this is the spread of your position times the spread of your momentum. And if we unpack momentum, inside momentum, I love having equations on my body. Momentum is defined by mass times velocity. So this P is actually from Latin patere, which means to push or to zoom towards, basically, like impetus. Mass times velocity. And velocity inside is speed in a given direction. So velocity is speed in a given direction, which is all to say that momentum, packed inside momentum, is direction. Position, directions, and mass. We love mass. We love mass. Direction. I've shed plenty of tears in my life for this exact thing. Someone just tell me to do with all this hunger. I've been trying to hide it. Now I'm trying to channel it. And I guess as I write that, I suppose I simply am just the channel. Stop trying is really the way. Anywho, for more than half my life, I struggled with dysmorphia. No clothes size or scale number could reassure me that I was safely thin. At treatment, I was told I'd likely always have an element of this. While it is not this dysmorphia is not completely gone, I am leagues better than I had ever hoped. I'd given up on it, honestly. And right now I feel pretty hot most of the time, and it's mostly because I know how to use my body beyond what it looked like. Yay, new chapter alert. And now my soul is playing catch up. There's some good pics on this one. If you haven't subscribed, just do it for the pics. Yes, as I feel more momentum towards the future, I've always hungered for. Yes, as I feel the momentum towards the future I've always hungered for begin to build, the hunger shame is signifying a sort of existential dysmorphia. I found myself asking friends, family, audience members for feedback. How did that make you feel? Did that make any sense? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? I mean, what is objective? What is subjective? And I feel so hesitant and anxious doing this because many respond, it shouldn't matter what other people think. It's your art. Do you? No, fucking duh, bitch. Obviously, I can't do anything but me. But do I have to do it so publicly on a literal stage? I want to believe in it and me, but being tone deaf is a real thing. And I don't want to be up there making people watch me eat if that means leaving them hungry in the bad way that I know all too well. And when I do get a little more solid selfhood footing beneath me and begin to believe again that I am on a path towards helping others with the creations that have helped me, I'm like, well, where the hell do I go from here? Where the hell do I go from here? Position, direction. How do I prioritize this Heisenberg chicken or egg? Well, listen. What's this Heisenberg scrambled up, fried up chicken or egg? Well, listen. Let's say that I am, in fact, on this planet to do what I've always felt in my bones that I am built to do. Live, create, share, repeat. Then, in order to get to where I want to be, namely sharing my work with those whom it would nourish, I must know where I am. How else am I supposed to know if I'm supposed to jump up, bend down, hop left, skip right, step forward, fall back? I'm at a stage where I don't need direction. I need reflection. And not through the funhouse mirror that was made from my historically distorted self-concept, made by my historically distorted self-concept. Let me run it back. I'm at a stage where I don't need direction. I need reflection. And not through the funhouse mirror made by my historically distorted self-concept, but from those whom I aim to touch. That just feels logical, necessary even. I am trying to be no longer ashamed of my hunger. I am willing to bear the pain of exposing my hunger over the pain of letting it eat me. If I have any flaws in my reasoning, your reflection is quite welcome. Okay, those are my musings on the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which is basically saying H, which is Planck's constant, very small number, a quantum unit of action, divided by 4 pi, has to be less than or equal to an object's momentum, the uncertainty of an object's momentum, or position times its momentum. And so the reason it's impossible to ever know an object's position and momentum simultaneously with exact precision is that if you want this quantity to equal anything, and this uncertainty goes to 0, so you know exactly where this position is, then this needs to skyrocket up to infinity, which lives somewhere around here. This needs to skyrocket up to infinity in order to balance it out so it can still equal an actual constant value or an actual numerical value whatsoever. So if you liked the newsletter and the combination of all things that are spilled into the same table of my brain, you can subscribe on Substack at Atmosphere, ATMOSPEERE, Emma Spear, SPEER, and have a great freaking Pi Day.